Upbeat. Friendly music starts and then fades to background. Hey there, fellow cat parents. Picture this. You just got back from the nursery, beaming with pride over your gorgeous new houseplant. It's perfect. It ties the room together. You place it in a sun-drenched spot, turn your back for literally 2 seconds to grab your phone for an Instagram pic, and what do you hear? The unmistakable sound of munch, munch, munch. You whip around to see your fluffy little menace, a leaf dangling from their mouth, looking at you with zero remorse. Sound familiar? You think, is he trying to tell me he needs more fibre? Or has his single brain cell finally short-circuited? Well, before you chalk it up to another weird cat quirk, you need to know that this little tasting session could be a medical emergency in the making. Today, we're exposing the secret agents of doom lurking in your living room, the top 10 popular houseplants that are secretly toxic to our cats. So, go ahead and drop the name of your little plant destroyer in the comments below, and let's get started. So first off, why are our cats, these supposedly obligate carnivores, so obsessed with turning our plants into confetti? It's not because they suddenly decided to go vegan. It's baked into their very DNA. In the wild, cats often chew on grass to help with digestion, or to, well, help them hurl up something that didn't agree with them, like fur or feathers. It's a natural instinct. The problem is, their little cat brains can't always tell the difference between a safe blade of grass outside and your beautiful and potentially deadly decorative ficus inside. They explore the world with their mouths, driven by curiosity and a texture fascination that we may never fully understand. To them, a dangling vine is a toy, and a crunchy leaf is a satisfying snack. They aren't doing it to be bad, they're just being cats. And it's our job as their loyal staff to make sure their environment is safe for their chaotic, adorable, and sometimes baffling antics. Alright, let's kick this off with public enemy number 1 in the feline world, the lily. Oh, they are so beautiful, aren't they? Easter lilies, tiger lilies, stargazer lilies. They look and smell incredible. They're the kind of flower you get in a fancy bouquet that makes you feel like you have your life together. You might think a little nibble on a petal is no big deal, but for a cat, this is not just a plant. It's a weapon of mass destruction. I cannot stress this enough, friends. Every single part of the lily plant is lethally toxic to cats. We're talking the stem, the leaves, the petals, the pollen, and even the water in the vase. If your cat so much as gets a little pollen on their fur and then grooms it off later, they could be in serious, life-threatening trouble. It's a silent assassin that looks absolutely stunning while it plots your cat's demise. It's the villain from a Bond movie in plant form. So what's the big deal with lilies? The specific toxin is still unknown to scientists, which is even scarier. But what we do know is that it causes severe, acute kidney failure. And it happens fast. The initial signs might be vomiting, lethargy, and a lack of appetite which, let's be honest, can describe a cat on any given Tuesday. But within 12 to 24 hours, the damage to the kidneys begins, and if left untreated, it is almost always fatal within 3 to 5 days. There is no antidote. The only hope is immediate and aggressive veterinary care, including IV fluids to try and flush the system and protect the kidneys. The absolute best advice: if you have cats, you simply cannot have lilies in your home or your yard. Period. It's a non-negotiable. Just swap them out for some beautiful roses or sunflowers and keep your furry friends safe from this beautiful but deadly threat. Your cat's life is worth more than any floral arrangement. Next on our most wanted list is the sago palm. This plant is super popular, especially if you're going for that tropical, beachy vibe in your home. It looks like a miniature palm tree, and it's pretty low maintenance, so what's not to love? Well, your cat's liver has a few complaints. The sago palm looks like a fun, feathery toy to a cat, a perfect thing to bat at and chew on. But this innocent-looking plant is hiding a seriously potent poison in every single part of its body. From the feathery fronds to the sturdy trunk, it's all bad news. But the most dangerous part by far is the seeds or the nuts. They contain the highest concentration of the toxin, and just 1 or 2 seeds can be a fatal dose for a cat or a small dog. It's a classic case of looks can be deceiving. This plant isn't bringing tropical fun. It's bringing potential tragedy. The toxin in the sago palm is called psychocin, and its primary target is the liver. Ingesting any part of this plant can lead to severe and often irreversible liver failure. The initial symptoms might be what you'd expect: vomiting, diarrhea, and drooling. But as the toxin takes hold, you'll see more frightening signs like black, tarry stool, jaundice, a yellowing of the skin and eyes, increased thirst, and bruising. Neurological signs like seizures and circling can also occur as the liver fails to filter toxins from the blood. Much like with lilies, the prognosis is grim without immediate and intensive veterinary intervention. The survival rate, even with treatment, is only about 50%. So if you're tempted by this little palm tree, just walk away. Your cat's well-being depends on you choosing a different, non-toxic plant to complete your home's aesthetic. Let's move on to some springtime favourites that often sneak into our homes in bouquets: tulips and daffodils. They're the cheerful harbingers of spring, a splash of colour after a long winter. Who doesn't love a vase of bright yellow daffodils or vibrant red tulips on the kitchen table? Your cat, that's who. Or rather, your cat's gastrointestinal system. While the flowers and stems can cause some irritation, the real danger is lurking underground in the bulbs. Cats, being the curious little excavators they are, might be tempted to dig up freshly planted bulbs in the garden, or they might find a loose one you've stored for planting. The bulbs of both tulips and daffodils contain concentrated alkaloids and glycosides that are highly toxic. Think of the bulb as a little poison bomb, just waiting for a curious cat to find it. It's a beautiful flower with an ugly secret hidden in its roots. When a cat chews on a tulip or daffodil bulb, it can cause intense irritation to the mouth and esophagus. You'll likely see excessive drooling, followed quickly by vomiting, diarrhea, and severe abdominal pain. It's a very unpleasant experience for your poor kitty. In most cases of just nibbling a leaf or flower, the symptoms will be mild and resolve on their own. But if a significant amount of the bulb is ingested, it can lead to more serious problems, including an increased heart rate, changes in breathing, and in rare, severe cases, cardiac arrhythmias. So while these flowers are a beautiful sign of spring, it's best to enjoy them from afar, or ensure any bouquets are kept well out of your cat's reach. And if you're a gardener, make sure your cat isn't helping you with the planting by digging up and sampling the merchandise. Okay, let's talk about one of the most popular houseplants of all time. I'm willing to bet half of you watching have one of these right now. It's the pothos, also known as devil's ivy. This plant is famous for being virtually unkillable. It thrives on neglect, grows beautiful trailing vines, and looks amazing in a hanging basket. What could be wrong with that? Well, those gorgeous, heart-shaped leaves contain a nasty surprise: insoluble calcium oxalate crystals. These crystals are microscopic, needle-shaped structures that are bundled together in the plant's cells. They are a defense mechanism for the plant, and a very effective one at that. To a cat, those long, dangling vines look like the most amazing string toy ever created. They'll bat at them, pounce on them, and inevitably chew on them. And that's when the trouble starts. When your cat takes a bite of a pothos leaf, those tiny, sharp calcium oxalate crystals are released, and they immediately embed themselves into the soft tissues of the mouth, tongue, and throat. Imagine chewing on a mouthful of tiny shards of glass. That's what it feels like for your cat. The pain is intense and immediate. You will see signs like pouring at the mouth, profuse drooling, and visible swelling of the lips and tongue. They may also vomit or have difficulty swallowing. In very rare cases, if a large amount is ingested, the swelling in the throat can become severe enough to obstruct their airway, which is a true medical emergency. The good news is that the intense oral pain usually stops them from eating a lethal amount, so fatalities are rare. However, it's a very painful and distressing experience for your cat that is easily avoided by keeping this plant far, far away. Coming in hot on the heels of the pothos is its close cousin in crime, the philodendron. This is another massive family of plants that are incredibly popular with indoor gardeners, from the classic heartleaf philodendron with its trailing vines to the big bold split-leaf philodendron, which is often confused with Monstera. These guys are everywhere. They are easy to care for, they look fantastic, and just like the pothos, they are a big no-no for your furry friends. Why? You guessed it. They are also packed with those same nasty, insoluble calcium oxalate crystals. The mechanism of toxicity is exactly the same. Your cat, seeing a luscious green leaf that practically begs to be chewed, takes a bite and is met with a world of instant pain and irritation. It's like the plant is screaming, "Don't eat me," in the most painful way possible. The symptoms of philodendron poisoning are identical to those of pothos poisoning. Look for that telltale oral irritation, the frantic pouring at the face, the drooling, the moaning and crying. You might also notice a hoarse meow, or a refusal to eat or drink because of the pain in their mouth and throat. Vomiting and diarrhea can also occur. As with pothos, the initial discomfort is usually so severe that most cats won't consume enough to cause life-threatening issues like airway obstruction, but it's still a significant risk. The takeaway here is simple. If a plant looks and acts like a pothos, it's best to assume it's also toxic. Keeping these plants in hanging baskets high up might seem like a solution, but we all know cats are furry little acrobats who view height as a personal challenge, not a deterrent. Now for a plant with a truly ominous name, Dieffenbachia, more commonly known as dumb cane. The name alone should be a red flag, right? This is another very common houseplant, prized for its large, lush leaves with beautiful variegated patterns. It can grow quite large and make a real statement in a room, but the name dumb cane comes from the plant's toxic effect. If a human chews on it, the intense swelling in the mouth and throat can cause a temporary inability to speak. Now, imagine that effect on your small, fuzzy cat. Like its relatives, the pothos and philodendron, the Dieffenbachia is loaded with those calcium oxalate crystals. However, many experts consider Dieffenbachia to be even more dangerous because it also contains a proteolytic enzyme that can worsen the inflammatory response, making the symptoms more severe. A cat that chews on a dumb cane leaf will experience severe and immediate pain. The symptoms are similar to what we've discussed: drooling, pouring at the mouth, loss of appetite, but the swelling can be much more pronounced and dangerous. The risk of the tongue and upper airway swelling to the point of blocking breathing is significantly higher with this plant. It can also cause severe eye pain if the sap gets into the eyes. This is not a plant you want to mess with. If you suspect your cat has ingested any amount of Dieffenbachia, you should contact your veterinarian or an animal poison control centre immediately. While fatalities are still uncommon due to the initial pain deterring further consumption, the potential for a severe reaction makes this a plant that simply has no place in a home with curious pets. Let's talk about a plant that many people think of as a healing miracle: aloe vera. We slather it on our sunburns, we drink its juice for health benefits. It's a staple in natural wellness. It's a succulent. It's easy to keep alive, and it's useful. So it must be safe for our cats, right? Wrong. This is a perfect example of how something that is beneficial for humans can be harmful to our pets. While the clear gel inside the aloe leaf is generally considered non-toxic, the outer skin and the yellowish layer of latex just beneath it contain compounds called saponins and anthraquinones. These substances are laxatives, and when ingested by your cat, they can cause some pretty unpleasant digestive upset. Your cat might be drawn to the pointy leaves as a fun chew toy, not knowing the tummy ache that awaits them. If your cat decides to sample your aloe vera plant, the most common symptoms you'll see are vomiting and diarrhea. The diarrhea can sometimes be quite severe. You might also notice your cat seems lethargic or has a loss of appetite. In some cases, their urine might change to a reddish colour. While aloe vera poisoning is not typically life-threatening, it can cause significant discomfort and dehydration, especially in very young old, or medically fragile cats. It's a tricky one because we associate aloe with healing, but it's important to remember that our cat's biology is very different from our own, so keep the aloe gel in your medicine cabinet for your own use, but keep the actual plant away from your cat. There are plenty of other cat-safe succulents you can choose from. Speaking of succulents, let's discuss another super popular one, the jade plant. Also known as the money plant or lucky plant, this succulent is a common housewarming gift, thought to bring good fortune. It has thick, glossy, fleshy leaves and is incredibly resilient. Unfortunately, it won't bring any good fortune to a cat that decides to chew on it. The exact toxic principle in the jade plant is unknown, but we know for a fact that it is toxic to cats, dogs and horses. It's another one of those plants that looks harmless, maybe even a bit boring to a human, but to a bored cat, those thick, juicy-looking leaves can be an irresistible target for a test bite, and that one bite can lead to a very unhappy kitty and a very worried pet parent. The symptoms of jade plant poisoning can be quite varied. The most common sign is vomiting, but what's more concerning are the potential neurological effects. Cats that have ingested jade may become depressed and lethargic, acting very out of character. They can also develop ataxia, which is a loss of coordination. They might stumble around as if they are drunk, unable to walk in a straight line. In very rare cases, a slow heart rate can also be seen. If you notice these symptoms and you have a jade plant within your cat's reach, it's time for a vet visit. While most cases are mild, it's always best to be cautious. That lucky plant on your windowsill could turn out to be very unlucky for your four-legged family member. Here's another plant that's practically a cliché for being low maintenance, the snake plant, or mother-in-law's tongue. You see them in offices, malls and homes everywhere because they can survive just about anything. They have tall, stiff, sword-like leaves that look cool and modern. And because they're so tough, a cat might find them to be a particularly satisfying, crunchy chew toy. The good news is that the snake plant is only mildly toxic. It contains some of the same chemical compounds, saponins, that we find in aloe vera. These compounds cause a foaming action when chewed, which is part of the plant's defense mechanism. While it's unlikely to cause a serious medical emergency, it can definitely ruin your cat's day and your carpet. If your cat ingests part of a snake plant, the symptoms will be limited to the gastrointestinal tract. Expect some nausea, vomiting and diarrhea. Because the leaves are so fibrous and tough, they can also cause some physical irritation as they pass through. The taste is also apparently very bitter and unpleasant, so most cats will take one bite and decide to leave it alone for good. Fatalities from snake plant ingestion are virtually unheard of. However, no one wants their beloved pet to be sick and miserable. So even though it's on the lower end of the danger scale, it's still a plant that's best kept away from pets, or better yet, replaced with a cat-safe alternative like a cast-iron plant or a spider plant, which offer a similar look without the risk of a tummy ache. Our final plant isn't always sold as a houseplant, but it frequently ends up in our homes in floral arrangements or as dried decor, especially around the holidays. I'm talking about eucalyptus. We love the smell. It's used in aromatherapy for its calming and respiratory clearing properties. It looks beautiful with its silvery green, coin-shaped leaves, but those leaves are filled with essential oils, specifically eucalyptol, which are highly toxic to cats. A cat's liver is not equipped to process these types of phenolic compounds, which makes essential oils in general very dangerous for them. So, while you might be diffusing eucalyptus oil to relax, your cat could be absorbing a potent toxin. The same goes for the plant itself. A curious nibble on a fresh or dried stem is a big problem. Ingestion of the eucalyptus plant can cause a range of serious symptoms. You'll likely see drooling, vomiting, and diarrhea first, but the more concerning signs are neurological. The cat may appear weak, lethargic, and depressed. They can seem confused or disoriented. In severe cases, seizures and respiratory distress can occur. The potent scent can be irritating enough to keep some cats away, but you can never count on that. It's crucial to remember that just because something is natural doesn't mean it's safe for our pets. When it comes to eucalyptus and other plants high in essential oils, the safest rule is total avoidance. Keep it out of your bouquets, out of your oil diffusers, and out of your house to ensure your cat stays happy and healthy. And there you have it, cat parents. 10 of the most common, popular, and surprisingly dangerous plants that could be hiding in plain sight in your home. Now, the point of this video isn't to scare you into getting rid of all your beautiful greenery. It's about being informed and empowered. It's about making our homes a true sanctuary for our furry family members. Now you know what to look out for when you're at the garden centre. A quick Google search before you buy can save a world of heartache later. And remember, despite their penchant for chewing on things they shouldn't, causing chaos at 3 a.m, and judging our every move from atop the refrigerator, we love these little weirdos more than anything. They trust us to keep them safe, and that's a pretty special job. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this helpful, please give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe for more cat content, and share it with a fellow cat person who needs to know. Now for our final question, what's the most cat-safe houseplant you own that your cat absolutely loves or loves to ignore? Let's share some safe ideas in the comments. Stay safe and give your cat a pet for me.